What is up, friends? Welcome to your Tuesday edition of Daily Dub, and it is lunchtime, and I'm sitting in the pink. Why? I don't know. I just decided to make it pink. Rub it. So, I do have a question today. This is from Anna. Anna, I do not know how to pronounce your last name. A-R-A-U-C-Z. Araz is my guess. Probably wrong. I apologize. Question from Anna. And she asked, how do I keep up with my collectibles? Do I keep a paper list? Do I keep a digital inventory? Do I use a collection app? And then a follow-up, what about insurance and the value and all that stuff? I thought that was a really good topic, actually, because this is a space that I don't feel like is really being met for collectors. I know in the world of Funko Pops, there's Pop Price Guide, and then recently Funko released their own app to have kind of price guide stuff. And I think right now it's not working very well. And that's fine. But I don't even think there's a way to accurately use checklists and to track things that you collect. Not real well. And I've got a few things I'll talk about how I do it. But I don't know that solution's out there. So those of you watching, if you're app developers and it's something of interest to you, I think that there is a market for this. People keep trying different things, but it doesn't seem like anybody's had a lot of success. And I would think, I mean, the thing that's tracking their value on eBay and all that, let that feed be secondary. Just try to develop a proper checklist with images and release information first. And we don't have that real well. But let me tell you about the things I use, Anna, first of all. So there is a really good app for comics, and it's called CLZ Comics. I think they also maybe have CLZ apps for Blu-rays and steelbooks and records and CDs and books, maybe. Things that all seem to have unique barcodes and are cataloged. I use that for my comics. It works wonderfully. It has barcode scanners. It can look up whatever you want to look up. And it works really well. I do use the League, I think it's called League of Comic Geeks, which is just a website to do some tracking and to produce an email each week. It'll send it to me tonight with here's the new issues on your pull list that are coming out. I do use that, but it doesn't seem to have a mobile app. CLZ is I use it on my iPad and my iPhone. I think it's not cheap. I think it was like $10 to unlock all the features. But it's been great. It has everything that you need. It updates all the time. It has cloud storage. It's perfect. I wish I had that for action figures. The app that I use is called Toy Collector 3. I think it is only on iOS. I don't think it's on Android. At least last time I checked, it wasn't. And it's just one guy. I think he's off the East Coast. And he's trying to constantly update this master database. And it's kind of crowdsourced, where a lot of people help him. I've actually helped him work on the database before. I've sent him suggestions. And he tries to have everything. I mean, people will send him every mini-made ever, and he'll put those in. It's really good for things like Marvel Legends or Black Series, like the main released lines. When you get into imports or some of the more obscure things, it's not as good. And it's because he's just having to put it in a database. It's not, I don't think he's doing any automation with it. But it's what I personally use because he's responsive. So if I have things that I need put in there, he'll put it in. It does have an option to say you owned it, or you used to own it, or you've pre-ordered it, or you want it, or different things like that for your list. So you can create lists like that, which I think is kind of helpful. And it does often have images. If you can point him to somewhere on the web where the image would be. But it is not a full catalog. How wonderful will it be if you could pull up each Marvel Legend wave by Build-A-Figure when they were released, whether Hasbro made them or Toy Biz, and you could search by every version of Wolverine. It's just not a thing that's out there. And I actually think Marvel Legends is the place somebody could start. They could just start there and build it off of the Marvel Legends back and kind of go from there. But Toy Collector 3 is the best app that I've used. But what happens is if I get into a line like Sentinel Re-Edit, and he didn't have any of those in there, and I got into it, and before he had it updated, I just was tracking them myself. So what I also did for a while was track them in my own spreadsheet and in Excel, and this would allow me to to do however I wanted to do it. I probably need to go back to that approach and just build what I want myself. But I really want there to be an app. Now, I know there's other paid apps. I think there's a thing just called Action Figure Checklist that's like $5-6. Never used it. I think a lot of people use Snups, which is kind of like just for general, like here's your stuff, create virtual shelves, take pictures of your things, and then you can see what you have. I like that okay, but I really want images that are coming from the web because, you know, a lot of us have stuff that's either tucked back in the corner or it's not easy to get to, and I don't want to have to sit there and go take a picture of every one of these things. I'll just never do that, even if I have a list of all of them. I also just use like notes like on my iPhone or iPad to kind of keep track of things and say, I got to get these into something, whether that's toy collector, whether that's my database, my spreadsheet or whatever. But I think this is a good conversation for the comments. Like everybody let folks know, what do you use to keep up with your collection? You know, I think inevitably if you don't use something, you're going to buy things again. You can say you won't, but eventually you will. And some of us, if you don't have as big a collection, maybe it's not a big deal. But once you get into hundreds and hundreds of figures or collectibles of whatever type, it's hard to remember. And really, the reality is, I more keep up with the things I'm missing out of things than the things I have, because it's easier to remember the things I'm missing. And I just keep those on a little checklist on my phone, so that if I am hunting around, I can find it. So let's talk about that in the comments. If there's apps you use, if you know of anything, especially things that are apps, even if it's $5-6, you pay for it, it has everything there. All you got to do is say, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. That's the thing people want. You don't want to have to go do a lot of work to it. Otherwise, the adoption rate's low. I mean, just like any other app, the more you have to put into it, the less you're going to do. Now, the second conversation around insurance. So with my insurance company, you can have a personal belongings rider on your home insurance, and it will cover, you know, things like your collection or jewelry or, you know, furs or things like that. And you can have that up pretty high. So I just keep it up above what my collection would be valued at in any scenario. Anna asked the question, what do you use for value? Do you use your retail price? Do you use what it's valued at today? What it could be valued at one day? I would imagine in the event you have to make a claim, you're going to have to justify at that time what it was worth. And you know, I just kind of pay attention to eBay at a very high level. So like right now, for instance, I know my collection's gone up in value because Marvel Hot Toys have gone up. So I may readjust that come the change of the year. But the way I keep up with it for insurance purposes, I'm always videoing my collection. I do collection updates pretty often. One of the main reasons for that is specifically for insurance. I can demonstrate I have it. Here it is. I had it 2 months ago. I showed this on a video, made it public. It's available. And I think just taking pictures or videos or whatever in the event, you know, a terrible thing happens and you need to use it for insurance would be the path to go. So, and I hope that answered your question. Tomorrow, you will get a new trailer for Sunday's episode where I met up with some friends and we went to a small convention and had a good time. Thursday and Friday, you're going to get a special episode, 2-parter, one each day. We'll be back Saturday with a daily dub. Sunday, your new episode of Dub Live. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're getting ready for, if you're in America, holiday, a short week, some of that coming up here shortly. And I hope that you all are having a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll talk to you soon. Squeeze it.